Wangari Maathai is a Kenyan environmental and political activist. When a sapling is planted is a Nobel Prize acceptance speech at Oslo, which she made on December 10, 2004. Wangari Maathai was born in Nairobi, Kenya. It's in Africa in 1940s. What's special about her is that she is the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctorate degree. Wangari Maathai obtained a degree in biological sciences from Mount St. Scholastica College in Atchison, Kansas, 1964. She pursued doctoral studies in Germany and the University of Nairobi, further obtaining a PhD in 1971 from the University of Nairobi, where she also taught veterinary anatomy. Wangari Maathai was active in the National Council of Women of Kenya in 1976-87 and was its chairman in 1981-87. We have to understand here that it was while she served in the National Council of Women that she introduced the idea of planting trees with the people in 1976 and continued to develop it into a broad-based grassroots organization whose main focus is the planting of trees with women groups in order to conserve the environment and improve their quality of life. However, the Green Belt movement, which she assisted, which helped the women in Kenya in planting more than 20 million trees on their farms and on schools and church compounds. In 1986, the movement established a Pan-African Green Belt network and has exposed over 40 individuals from other African countries to the approach. Now these individuals, with their great initiative, have developed the Green Belt movement methods to improve their nation. In countries like Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, Lesotho, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, these initiatives became a great success. In September 1998, she launched a campaign of the Jubilee 2000 coalition. She has introduced or taken new challenges, playing a leading global role as a co-chair of the Jubilee 2000 Africa campaign, which seeks cancellation of the unpayable backlog debts of the poor countries in Africa by the year 2000. Her campaign against land grabbing and rapacious allocation of forest land has caught the limelight in the recent past. Wangari Maathai is internationally acknowledged for her persistent struggle for democracy, human rights, and environmental conservation. She and the Green Belt movement have received numerous awards, most notably the 2004 Nobel Peace Prize. Others include, and I mention a few, the Sophie Prize 2004, the Petra Kelly Prize for Environment 2004, the Conservation Scientist Award 2004, the J. Sterling Morton Award 2004, Van Gogh Environment Award 2003, Outstanding Vision and Commitment Award 2002, Excellence Award from the Kenyan Community Abroad 2001 are some among them. Professor Maathai was also listed on UNEP's Global 500 Hall of Fame and named one of the 100 heroines of the world. In June 1997, Wangari was elected by 8 times as one of 100 persons in the world who have made a difference in the environmental arena. Professor Maathai has also received honorary doctoral degrees from several institutions around the world: Williams College, MAUSA 1990, Harvard and William Smith Colleges 1994, University of Norway 1997, and Yale University 2004. Now let's listen to the speech made by Wangari Maathai while she received her Nobel Prize acceptance at Oslo, December 10, 2004.
I call upon Wangari Maathai to give her Nobel lecture.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highness, honorable members of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you and the world. Humbled by this recognition and uplifted by the honor of being the 2004 Nobel Peace Laureate. As the first African woman to receive this prize, I accept it on behalf of the people of Kenya and Africa, and indeed the whole world. Tree planting became a natural choice to address some of the initial basic needs identified by women. Also, tree planting is simple, attainable, and guarantees quick, successful results within a reasonable amount of time. These are all important to sustain interest and commitment. So together we planted over 30 million trees that provide fuel, food, shelter, and income to support the children's and education and household needs. The activity also creates employment and improves soils and watersheds. Through their involvement, women gain some degree of power over their lives, especially their social and economic position and relevance in the family. This work continues. Initially, the work was difficult because historically our people have been persuaded to believe that because they are poor, they lack not only capital but also knowledge and skills to address their challenges. Instead, they are conditioned to believe that their solutions to their problems must come from outside. Although initially the Greenbelt movement tree planting activities did not address issues of democracy and peace per se, it soon became clear that governance of the environment was impossible without democratic space. Therefore, the tree eventually became a symbol for the democratic struggle. Citizens were mobilized to challenge widespread abuses of power, corruption, and environmental mismanagement. In Nairobi's Uhuru Park, at Freedom Corner, and in many parts of the country, trees of peace were planted to demand the release of prisoners of conscience and a peaceful transition to democracy. Through the Greenbelt movement, thousands of ordinary citizens were mobilized and empowered to take action and effect change. They learned to overcome fear and a sense of hopelessness and moved to defend democratic rights. In time, the tree also became a symbol of peace and conflict resolution, especially during the ethnic clashes when the Greenbelt movement used peace trees to reconcile disputing communities. During the ongoing rewriting of the Constitution, similar trees of peace have been planted in many parts of the country to promote a culture of peace. Using trees as a symbol of peace is in keeping with a widespread African tradition. For example, in my own community, the elders carried a staff from a tree called Veg. Whenever there were disputing sides, that staff was placed between them. And as soon as the elders placed that Veg or that staff between them, they stepped back, stopped fighting, and went to seek reconciliation. Many African communities have this heritage and tradition. Such practices are part of an extensive cultural heritage in Africa, which contributes both to the conservation of habitats and to cultures of peace. With the destruction of these cultures and the introduction of new values, local biodiversity is no longer valued and protected, and as a result, it quickly degenerates and disappears. For this reason, the Greenbelt movement explores the concept of cultural biodiversity, especially with respect to indigenous trees and medicinal plants. As we progressively understood the causes of environmental degradation, we saw the need for good governance. Indeed, the state of any country's environment is a reflection of the kind of governance in place, and without good governance, there can be no peace. Many countries which have poor governance systems are also likely to have conflicts and poor laws protecting the environment. In the year 2002, the courage, resilience, patience, and commitment of members of the Greenbelt movement, other civil society organizations, and the Kenyan public culminated in the peaceful transition to a democracy government and laid the foundation for a more stable society. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is 30 years since we started this work. Activities that devastate the environment and societies continue unabated. Today, we are faced with a challenge that calls for a shift in our thinking so that humanity stops threatening its life support system. We are called to assist the earth to heal her woods, and in the process, heal our own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. This will happen if we see the need to revive our sense of belonging to a larger family of life with which we have shared our evolutionary process. As I conclude, I reflect on my own childhood experience when I would visit a stream next to our home to fetch water for my mother. I would drink water straight from the stream because it was clean. Playing among the arrow roots, I tried in vain to pick up the strands of frogs' eggs, believing they were beads with which I could adorn myself. But every time I put my little fingers under these beads, they would break. Later, I saw thousands of tadpoles, black, energetic, and wiggling through the clear water against the background of the brown earth. This is the word I inherited from my mother. Today, 50 years later, my stream has dried up. Women walk longer distances to fetch water, which is not always clean. And children may never play with the tadpoles and the frog eggs, and they may never know what they lost. The challenge, as I stand here today, is to restore this home for the tadpoles and give back to the children